Hi, friends. How is it going? I want to talk today about something that makes me sweat a little bit, and that is having tough conversations. We all have to have them in our personal life, in our professional life. It's a part of life, should I say life again? And I don't like having tough conversations. It's not like I've miraculously just started loving having tough conversations, but I've started developing some tools for myself through therapy, through coaching, through different things that I can use when I have to have these tough conversations that I'm not looking forward to. And one of those things is that every time before I would go into a tough conversation, I used to prepare for the worst. You know, that whole expect the best, prepare for the worst doesn't really work for me, because every time when I would prepare for the worst, I would start envisioning the worst happening. And then it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? The worst would actually happen. And so I've started doing this thing, even when it's not really tough conversations, even conversations where you're expecting there's going to be some kind of confrontation, or it's going to be adversarial, or even just a conversation you're nervous to have. I started visioning it going well, literally sitting down and seeing in my mind's eye that I get the response that I'm looking for, that I'm able to show up the way I want to, that I'm feeling understood and heard, that there's resolution, whatever it is I'm hoping is the goal of the conversation. I literally envision it happening. If you have a hard time just kind of envisioning in your mind, you can also write down what it is that you want to happen, and that'll help you start to see it actually happening. Or I've even been known before conversations or calls that I'm really nervous to make, I will pace up and down, or because I usually have too much energy before those kinds of things. And so I'll either pace up and down or try to sit outside or sit in somewhere I'm comfortable and repeat over and over, the conversation is going well. The conversation went well. The conversation is going to be great. It's going to be fun. I'm going to have fun today. This is going to be fun. I am so excited, and pump myself up and repeat statements over and over and over again so they start to get into my subconscious mind. That's a real thing. If you don't believe me, Google it. But that's something that I do before the conversation to get me ready and to manifest it going well. Now, manifesting isn't for everyone. And sometimes I like a backup plan for my manifestation. Not to say that I don't think the manifestation is going to work, but I like to give myself as many tools as possible to feel as comfortable as possible so that going into this conversation, there's less anxiety around it. So the other thing I do is I have a plan. And this is something I got from my therapist. I will create that sandwich method plan to have whatever conversation it is that I need. And the sandwich method, if you're trying to deliver criticism or constructive criticism or hard information, you start with something that the person's really great at, or a really positive thing about the person you're speaking with. Then you kind of insert the constructive criticism in the middle, and then you put the other piece of bread on the end of it and end with a positive. So it's positive, constructive, positive. And so coming up with a plan of what I'm going to say, how I'm going to say it, and having a phrase that I can go back to. So if you're worried someone's going to get defensive or combative, knowing that you have a phrase that you can consistently come back to, it's understandable that you are feeling this. I just need you to understand this, or, that makes perfect sense. However, this is why this conversation is so important to me. Whatever it is that you need to do, and write it down. I mean, we're kind of lucky right now that so much of our communication is still virtual, that we can literally have the person on Zoom or on the phone and have our notes next to us. And so even if you're in person and you want to feel more comfortable, bring a notepad with you. Maybe not looking at your phone, because that feels sometimes a little bit like you're not giving someone your full attention, but a notepad with some notes is always a great idea. And so those are kind of my tools. I manifest it going well. I give myself a plan so that I'm setting myself up for success in something that feels challenging. And when I go in with those tools, I also go in from a more positive, empowered place, which brings that kind of energy to the conversation. So I've also kind of protected myself because I'm in this level of high energy. And so when you walk into other people and they're in a different energetic space, they have an opportunity to also kind of meet you where you're at. They might see that high energy and it might just bring them into that empowered high energy feeling. Now, I get it. Not every call is going to go perfect. Not every encounter when you're having a tough conversation is going to go the way you might have planned for and hoped it would. And I am a strong believer that if you do manifest it going well, you're going to get your energy in the right place. You're going to plan your way into this. You're going to have more positive results. But for those that are feeling like, I don't know, not my thing, manifesting and all this stuff, when the conversation doesn't go to plan, when you can use this for anytime you experience rejection, failure, anxiety-inducing situations, I let myself feel those uncomfortable emotions, those quote unquote less favorable emotions, whatever they are. I literally allow myself to feel it. There were many times when I had clients in real estate that if I got a call that was not what I had hoped it would be, I would literally cry right after the call. It's how I process every emotion, is through my tears. And so thankfully I work with my family. Maybe if that doesn't feel safe at work or in your workspace, I know it sounds sad, but cry in your car. I've done it so many times, but it's like a processing space for me. It's a safe space where I feel like, okay, I can let go, I can let down and cry and process it and breathe. Continue to inhale and exhale and let that emotion flow through your body. And I also want to say that I think you're allowed to vent. I think so many people have this judgment around venting, or they think of it as the same thing as bitching and moaning or gossiping. But venting can be very productive. And if you're on the receiving end of someone's vent, instead of fixing the problem for them, might I suggest just being an open space for them to give you their experience, to lay it out there. You don't have to take it on. You don't have to fix it. It's not your job, but be someone who can hold space for whomever's coming to you, and validate. Look, the first thing they teach you in life coaching: acknowledge and validate. Acknowledge and validate someone's experience. Just because you don't agree with a situation or agree with someone's choices does not mean it is not valid for them. Whatever emotion they are feeling is valid and it is theirs. And same goes for when you're experiencing this. So go to someone you feel like will hold space for you and vent. So all of that being said, we like to manifest these tough conversations going well. We like to come in with a plan of action so we can feel confident. We like to repeat mantras before the conversation and really vision that conversation being everything you want it to be. And then on the off chance, or in the scenario where it doesn't go the way you thought it would, we want to breathe. We want to let ourselves feel. We want to vent if that's what we need to do. And then we want to allow ourselves that time to go, oh, that sucked. That was not what I wanted at all. And then down the road, you can see what you learned from that experience, because we learn something from every experience that we have. So that is my little story for you today on Tough Conversations. Anyway, I love you. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.